please. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Canada Graduate Scholarship Masters Information Session. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Tony Maschantonio, and I am the Scholarships and Awards Officer in the School of Graduate Studies, and my colleague Diane Potvin is also here. She is also a Scholarships and Awards Officer. At some point during the presentation, we will have Dr. James Gillette, Associate Dean of Social Science, and Dr. Martin Horn, Associate Dean of Humanities, available to answer questions. And wanted to let you know that the session will be recorded and uploaded to our CGS-M information page. Also, if you have any questions, please include them in the Q&A, not in the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the session. So here we go. So the tri-agency, which is CIHR, INSERC, and SSHRC application is harmonized for all three agencies. So basically everything's the same, the application, the process for all three agencies. The value and duration. The value is $17,500. It's for 1 year and it's non-renewable. Important dates. Eligible students must complete and submit their application in the tri-agency portal by 8 p.m. on December 1st, 2020. There will be no extensions. This is a tri-agency deadline, and if you don't submit your application by that time, you will not be able to submit one. The results will be available in the research portal on April 1st, 2021. Should you be offered CGS-M, you have 21 days from the date of offer to accept the award. If you don't accept the award, the status will automatically change to decline after 21 days, and this cannot be reversed. Eligibility. You must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. Must have completed as of December 31st, 2020, between 0 and 12 months of full-time graduate studies. So the earliest you could have started your master's would be January 1st, 2020 to be eligible to apply for this award. You must have achieved a first-class average in each of the last 2 completed years of study. We will be looking at 2018-19 and 19-20 grades. First class average is considered a 10 out of a 12 or an 80% master. You must not have previously held a CGS-M, and you can only submit a maximum of 1 scholarship application per academic year to either CIHR, INSERC, or SSHRC. Program of study eligibility. An eligible graduate program must have a significant research component. A significant research component is considered to be original, autonomous research that leads to the completion of a thesis, major research project, dissertation, scholarly publication, performance, recital, and/or exhibit that it is merit expert reviewed at the institutional level as a requirement for completion of the program. Joint programs with a professional degree, for example, MD, PhD, are eligible if they have a significant autonomous research component as described in the last slide. Clinically oriented programs of study, including clinical psychology, are also eligible programs if they have a significant research component, as described in the last slide. Master's programs that are based only on coursework are typically not eligible since they do not include a significant autonomous research component. Selection criteria. Academic excellence is 50%. Research potential is 30%. Personal characteristics and interpersonal skills is 20%. application overview, the outline of the proposed research and the bibliography and citations. The proposed research is a maximum of 1 page and the bibliography is a maximum of 1 page. If your proposed research is longer than 1 page, we will remove the additional copy. We have had many instances where students have a shorter biography and continue their research proposal onto page 2 because there's space. If you do that, we will just remove the extra copy because it's not fair for the other students who have submitted 1 page maximum. Official transcripts. Students are required to include all official transcripts, and that includes undergraduate and graduate. There's a special note for this fall competition. The tri-agencies will accept unofficial transcripts if official transcripts cannot be obtained from any institution. As far as we know, McMaster is providing official transcripts for people who order them. So we suggest if you want to apply for this scholarship that you order your McMaster transcripts now so that you will get them in time, as you will need a McMaster transcript from the current fall 2020 session. Even if you just started here at Mac, you don't have any grades, you do need your McMaster transcript to show that you are registered here and the program you're registered in. You also need to include 1 legend from each institution. There is the CGS-M Canadian Commons CV that you are required to complete as part of the application, and you also need 2 reference assessments. If you don't get your reference assessments, you won't be able to submit your application. The application needs to be complete before you click submit. Also, if you submit it and you want to make a correction, the system won't let you do that. So I would suggest reviewing your application because once you submit, you cannot make any changes. And now I'll pass this to my colleague, Diane.
Thanks, Tony. So the next few slides are really about some tips and how to apply. So you apply online using the research portal, which is hosted by NSERC. Please make sure that you read all the instructions prior to beginning your application. As Tony says, once you submit, that's it. You can select up to 3 universities. So applicants, if you're not sure what program or department you want to go into, you can still only apply to 1 university for 1 program. And you can apply up to 3. So that being said, your award is not tied to the department to which you indicated on your application. If that changes, that is fine. So you can select up to 3 universities. The selection process and post-award administration is carried out at the university who offered you the award. This award is not transferable to another institution. So your next steps, you order your current official fall 2020 transcripts from McMaster, order official transcripts from any other university you have attended if you do not already have them. Start your CGS-M Canadian Commons CV, or the CCV. Ask 2 professors to complete letters of appraisal for you. Make sure to submit your entire application before the deadline. As Tony had mentioned earlier, there are no extensions. And we also recommend not waiting until, an hour before the deadline. It will be busy, so you want to make sure you give yourself lots of time to be able to upload it successfully. So for the 2021-22 Central Masters Competition, for the CGS-M, OGS, QE2, GSST, and the OGF, the awards that are a part of the Masters Central Competition are the CGS-M Canada Graduate Scholarships for Masters. It's a value of $17,500 for 12 months. The OGS, so the Graduate Scholarship, Ontario Graduate Scholarship, or QE2, GSST, QE2, Queen Elizabeth II, is contingent on the provincial government allocation, and we don't typically receive that until the end of the year or the beginning of the next. It's $15,000 for 12 months, which is $5,000 per term. And then we also have OGF, which is the Ontario Graduate Fellowship, which is $12,000 for 12 months at $4,000 per term. And continuing on with that, if a student applies for the CGS-M at McMaster, you would be automatically considered for an OGS or QE2 or an OGF here at McMaster. Now, you can only hold one of the above mentioned awards during the 2021 academic year. Results are announced April 1st. There was a lot of movement with the master's competition. So awards are shifting and changing, and we're usually giving them out until about mid-May. So now we've got some tips for writing a successful scholarship application. The biggest thing is to give yourself time. Start preparing your application early. Review the 3 selection criteria so you understand what the review committee will be looking for. Make sure it's complete, your application is complete. Provide only what is asked for. There is limited space. You must use 12-point Times New Roman font for all of your documents and application questions. That is a presentation standard set by the CGS-M program. Documents must also be single-spaced, and respect the page limits to avoid disqualification. Pay close attention to grammar and spelling. Have someone who knows you well, from your program review and proofread your application. Should also have a friend or a relative who knows you, but not necessarily your research. Review and proofread your application as well. Tips for getting a great reference letter. Choose your referees carefully. Request letters from referees who know you well and will provide positive references. Choose referees who have strong communication skills. Provide the referees with all the required information, including a list of your research contributions, a copy of your program of study, and the deadline to submit the letter. We recommend that you give them an earlier deadline from the application due date. Our recommendation would be November 25th at the latest to ensure that you have everything you need to submit your complete application on time. Send them a reminder to complete the reference letters by your suggested timeline, and most importantly, give them time to do the letter for you. And then tips for writing a strong research proposal. Carefully read the application instructions regarding the research proposal. Provide the adjudicators with the information they are looking for, no more, no less. Write in a clear, concise way, avoiding the use of technical jargon or lingo so that anyone reading it will be engaged and understand your proposal. You need to keep in mind that it's a multidisciplinary panel that will be reviewing your application, so everyone needs to be able to understand it. Organize your ideas logically. Use titles if appropriate for your proposal. Make sure you are relating your research to the mandate of the specific award. Emphasize what makes your proposal special or original and how it will contribute to your specific field of study. Make sure you take the time to write and rewrite.
Thank you, Diane. I think now we will go to the questions. Diane, will you be reading the questions?
Yes, I will. Okay. We will start here. So the first question is, McMaster has 2 semesters per year. So the 10 out of 12 for the year is averaged value from both semesters. What if one semester the GPA was below 10?
So the average is for the academic year. So you would have to average out your courses from September to the end of April, and you need a 10 in that academic year and then the other academic year. So it has nothing to do with semesters, it's just the entire academic year.
Next question is, how are the averages calculated in cases where the applicant hasn't taken 5 courses each semester? Example, what if they've done 4 to 5 courses each semester in their last 2 years?
As long as you're registered full-time, um, you will, we use the average in that academic year. So it doesn't matter how many courses you've taken, as long as your status is full-time, you use the average for 18-19 and the average for 19-20.
Okay. Next question is, are there any course-based scholarships offered through any of these portals?
No, this is strictly a research award, the CGS-M.
If you're applying for graduate studies next fall, 2021, then are you ineligible to apply for CGS-M for this cycle?
No, not at all. We want you to apply for the CGS-M this cycle, because if you apply now, it would be, the CGS-M would be awarded for the 21-22 academic year.
Could you clarify what is meant by transcript legend?
So each transcript should have a legend. McMaster has theirs at the back, which distinguishes their grades and what an A is equal to. Like an A- is a 10 and so on. So I would say that every transcript should have a legend either on the back or maybe at the bottom of one of their pages.
Okay. Is it mandatory to select 3 different universities? I will only be conducting research at McMaster.
No, it is not mandatory. You have the choice to choose up to 3 universities, but you could just choose McMaster if that's what you would like.
I am coming from another university. Do I obtain the official transcript myself, then scan it and attach it with my McMaster's transcript as one PDF?
So yes, you obtain the official transcript yourself. And if you are here at McMaster now this fall, you would order your McMaster transcript and then combine them as one PDF and upload it to your application.
Okay, next question is, oh, somebody just wanted you to repeat the deadlines. They couldn't get on at the beginning.
So the most important deadline right now is December 1st at 8 p.m. That is when the application is due. You cannot submit it later than that. That's a tri-agency deadline. That's a hard deadline. We will be announcing, well, the research portal will have the results available April 1st.
The next question was just whether these slides will be made available.
Absolutely. It will also be up, the whole presentation will be uploaded to the CGS-M information page on our website.
As a continuing student in a second degree, am I still eligible for CGS funding?
So, yes, you are eligible as long as, sounds like you've completed an undergrad degree. I would have to understand what you mean as a continuing student in a second degree. Sometimes continuing student doesn't mean you're actually completing another degree. But definitely if you will have graduated from at least one undergraduate degree, you are eligible to apply for CGS funding for next year.
Could you provide types of people we should ask for references?
Normally they suggest that you ask professors to write your reference letters, so that when it's being reviewed by the committee, their reference letter will have more clout. If that's, I think that's, is that, Diane, how that's normally what they say, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, we have James here. James, what are your thoughts?
Everybody. Okay. You know, it's a good question. I would ask a professor, and I would just do a little bit of background research on the person you're asking, because professors come in lots of different forms. So you could have a lecturer who's only teaching one course, and it may seem like they're a regular full-time professor, and they may not be. So just make sure that you know your professor, background?
I think there's a bad connection, James.
Can you not hear me very
I think if I understood correctly, it just depends on the professor. Is that what you said?
well? No, just like just make sure that just yeah, if it's a regular tenure track professor, um, then that's probably better than if it's a sessional instructor.
Okay.
Sometimes people ask their the teaching assistants for a letter or
Okay.
good students, and so make sure that it's just it's a family member and that you know them. And
Thanks,
you,
James.
yep.
Um,
Do you want ready to move on, Tony?
yeah.
Okay. Next question is, do the averages include spring, summer classes?
So if they're part of your degree, yes. If you had to take summer classes to complete your degree, yes, they are included. And so it would be, if you took summer classes, it would be from September 1st to August 31st, we would determine the average.
Okay, next question is there a way to obtain electronic official transcripts from McMaster, or should we scan and submit the official transcripts?
I'm not an expert on McMaster transcripts, but as far as I know, we don't offer electronic official transcripts. You would have
Correct.
to talk to the office of the registrar. So your best bet would be to order official transcripts, get them mailed to you, and then scan them.
Yeah. Tony, my understanding is that McMaster does not send out electronic transcripts.
Yeah, that's what I know, but I'm, so as far as we can advise you to, you need to order them and so they can get mailed to you.
In light of what happened last semester, how will pass-fail grades be considered for the application?
So since there's no mark for those courses, they won't be included in the average.
How many CGS-M awards are there if there are 3 different agencies awarding scholarships?
Okay, so there are 26 CIHR, Diane, right?
Yep.
35 SHRC and 36 insert.
Correct. One has to have completed, does one have to have completed a year of graduate studies? I'm in 4th year applying for next year.
No, not at all. If you are going to be in graduate studies, pursuing your graduate studies in the 21-22 academic year, then you can apply now.
Yeah. Is it possible to apply for this scholarship if I have just started my master's in September and don't yet have any grades?
Absolutely, yes. It's for students who are in 4th year or their 1st year of their master's. Those are the students who should be applying for this. And we look at your grades in your 3rd and 4th. If you're in your 1st year of your master's, they will look at your 3rd and 4th year grades to determine eligibility.
Is there any way that we can see if the referee has submitted their letter already?
Yes, when you log into your application, you can see if they've submitted.
For the proposal, are we writing one for all of the institutions we apply to?
Yes, you only write one research proposal. That's what the system allows.
What does personal characteristics refer to?
Diane, I'll keep answering the questions if you want to Google that.
Yep.
I've just moved on to the next question while Diane looks what up personal characteristics on the CGS-M website. If we went on exchange to another university in 2nd semester of 3rd year, are these marks included in the calculation of our GPA? Yes, they are included because they're part of your 3rd year. So if you're currently in 4th year, we look at your 2nd and 3rd year marks. If you're currently in your 1st year of your master's, we look at your 3rd and 4th year marks.
All right, Tony, I've got the personal characteristics. Okay?
Yeah.
Yep. So as demonstrated by the applicant's past professional and relevant extracurricular interactions and collaborations, indicators of personal characteristics and interpersonal skills are work experience, leadership experience, project management, including organizing conferences and meetings, ability or potential to communicate theoretical, technical, or scientific concepts clearly and logically in written and oral formats, involvement in academic life, and volunteerism and community outreach. And these things are all in documents on our website on the CGS-M page, as well as obviously their page as well. So then we're jumping into, if the last year is completed part-time, will it not be factored in, or will you be ineligible?
No, that won't make you ineligible at all. It will be factored in. I just think, and it depends on your transcript, we'd probably have to go back a few grades further back. So, so let's say the last 2 years and then maybe one semester from the year before, just to get 2 full years in there. Will you be?
Sorry, just for students applying to the MD PhD, can they still apply to CGS-M, and is the deadline the same despite the PhD component starting in the summer of the second year?
Okay, so MD PhD students can only apply if they haven't done more than 12 months of graduate studies as of December 31st. So if you've already, I'm not sure when you started your program or the timing of it. So basically you have to look at the rule. If you've done more than 12 months of graduate studies as of December 31st of this year, then you can't apply. If you haven't, then you can apply.
For current CGS-M holders, in order for them to compete for OGS, OGF, should they still submit the CGS-M application?
No, you can email me directly about that. My email address is, I'll actually type it in here. So send me off an email and we can chat about that.
Okay, so you typed in the answer for that question?
I did.
Okay. Do both references need to be from professors?
So there are no specific instructions indicating who who should write the reference letters. Actually, Diane, do you want to look that up while I go on to see, make suggestions? I'll just keep going. I took a year off after undergrad, 1920. How will my grades be calculated? So we'll just go back 1 year. So yours would be 17, 18, 18, 19. We would look at those grades. If a student has taken one graduate course in May 2020, would that count towards their academic average for the last 2 years? Good question. Normally, they look at the last, that's another degree, that's towards another degree. So I would say that they would look at your grades until April. Good question. Usually if you've been in school the whole academic year, then they would look at September to August 31st. So yes, I have to think about that. So if you were in school, then yes, they would look at it.
I am still looking here, Tony.
Yeah, no problem. What if my master's program is set to be completed this year before the 2021 term? Well, this award is for students who would be pursuing graduate studies. The earliest you could start this award is May 2021. So it doesn't sound like you'll be here as a grad student. So no, you wouldn't be eligible.
Okay, whenever you're ready, I've got info.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I'm just going to read what it has on the website for reference assessments. Each application must be accompanied by 2 reference assessments. Assessments should be completed by individuals who are familiar enough with your research and other abilities that they can provide a meaningful commentary. For example, current or previous academic research supervisor, industrial supervisor, teacher, or thesis advisor. Did that answer the question that was asked?
That's all they provide, so.
Okay, yeah. So Tony, I'm sorry, were you clicking off that you'd answer some of these
Oh,
questions?
no, I did not. That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Well, I know where we're at.
I took a year off, answered. So the next one I'm at, and I'm not sure what this means. Maybe you do, Diana. It says, would I have to submit a World Education Service WES document for coursework completed outside of Canada, i.e. MAC Abroad Exchange?
I have not heard of that. Work for coursework completed outside of. To be honest, I think that would be a question to send directly to NSERC for an answer on that. I'm not clear on that at all.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I would suggest that the student contact CGS-M directly with that question.
Yeah. Does it ever occur where an applicant under the required GPA receives the scholarship?
No. If the student doesn't have a 10 average in the last 2 academic years, they are not eligible to be ranked in the competition.
What if I had done co-op for 1 semester in 18-19? How will average be calculated then?
So again, we look at 18-19 as a whole in the academic year. As long as you were registered full-time in that whole year, you just take whatever grades are there and determine the average.
So just to confirm, it is only 1 page for the proposed research project, correct? Is there an outline provided for the research page?
That is correct. It's only 1 page. Is there an outline? They have basic instructions on the CGS-M page with guidelines.
I've been out of school for a while. I'm enrolled in a master's program at McMaster now. This is my 1st semester. Am I eligible to apply?
Yes, you are. As a first-year master's student, as long as you're in a 2-year master's program, if you're going to be in a master's next year, then yes, you're eligible to apply. You have to be pursuing graduate studies in the 21-22 academic year.
Assuming an individual wins the CGS-M award, how will the award be paid to the student? I.e., I started my master's at MAC in May 20 and aim to finish in August 2021.
So if you win a CGS-M, you would choose to start it in May, because you can have the option to start it in May or August or January 2022. So I would say you would choose to start it in May 2021. Oh, and you're done August 2021.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to suggest that you as well email NSERC. I'm not sure about the rule, Diane. I know OGS, you have to be in school here for a minimum of 2 terms. I don't know if CGS-M has that rule.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm just going to say, please email CGS-M directly. I'm not sure you'll be in school long enough.
Yeah. Something else that I'm going to mention here now is that NSERC will probably be posting their own information, CGS-M information session video online and probably followed with a Q&A. We're just not exactly sure when that's going to be yet, so we wanted to make sure that you had as much information as possible so you could get started. But once that information is available, we would put that out as well for anybody that's looking for more detailed information from NSERC. Next question was, is the tri-agency application different from the scholarships mentioned by Diane? Or does one application cover all scholarships mentioned in the presentation?
So as Diane said in the presentation, if you apply to the CGS-M here in the portal through McMaster, you'll automatically be considered for an OGS/QE2 or an OGF. So it's basically the top ranked students get the CGS-M, the next top ranked students get the OGS or QE2, and then the next top ranked students get the OGF. So it's one CGS-M application, which allows you to be considered for all the other awards.
What if you are unsure what the topic of your research will be? If you're applying to multiple universities, it may be different at each.
James? Are you there?
Can you just repeat the last part of that question?
Sure. What if you are unsure what the topic of your research will be? If you're applying to multiple universities, it may be different at each one.
So it's only possible to do one application.
It is only possible to do one, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I think in that case you want to try to write up a proposal that you can send to different universities. I don't think you can tailor it to each one. So you have to find a kind of either a generic one or be able to kind of demonstrate in what you're writing the diversity of your interests so that it fits the different universities.
Diane, did you get that?
Nah, not really. I was just going to ask if James has if he can access that Q&A tab and see the question here and maybe just type in the answer.
Because you have a bad connection.
I can, and I'll do that.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, James.
So James will respond to that.
Yeah. And I would say if James's answer isn't still quite enough for what the student's looking for, NSERC always recommends that you give them a call as well, and they're certainly there to help guide you with that as well. Right, Tony?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll let James answer that one. And the next one then is, does the application require you to include who your supervisor will be or just the program of study in the schools to which you're applying?
Yeah, you don't need to indicate who your supervisor will be because you're applying so early that you won't know that. You won't know who your supervisor will be for next year. Just the program of study and the schools you're applying to. But as Diane mentioned, let's say you picked a program of study and when you got awarded it, you've changed your mind and you want to go to another department or program, you can take it with you. The only requirement is that your research still is under that mandate. So if you applied for a CIHR, and let's say you put biochemistry in your application, and then when you got your award, you said, oh, I don't want to go to biochem anymore. I want to go to HRM, health research methodology. As long as your research still falls under CIHR, you can take it wherever you want within that university. But if you decided to go to physics, which is INSERC, then you can't take the award with you because you didn't win an INSERC award. Hope that makes sense.
Okay. Next question is following up on the second degree question. I'm enrolled in a second degree in PNB and completed my first degree in kinesiology.
So you can still apply if you've started your second degree in psychology this fall, you're in first year master's, you can still apply for a CGS-M because you're looking for funding for another degree for that degree. So that's fine.
Okay. So next one is, my undergraduate university does not issue transcripts to students. Therefore, I would be submitting an unofficial transcript in lieu of an official transcript. Is there any additional requirements for proving on the application that the official transcripts could not be obtained?
There isn't.
No.
We
Electronic?
So if they made a special rule just this year because of COVID, that if your institution is not issuing official transcripts, you will be able to upload unofficial transcripts. So there, you don't have to prove anything.
Yeah. If I took one course at another university for a transfer credit in the first year, do I need to include both official transcripts or just the McMaster one?
I would suggest you include all your transcripts just to be safe.
I have an official transcript from another university from last year. Do I need to purchase a new one for this year?
If the official transcript from last year is still current, meaning that none of the information has changed, then you don't need to get a new one as long as the information is current. But let's say you got your transcript last year and you hadn't graduated yet and it doesn't show you graduated, then you would need to get a new one. As long as the information is current, you can use something from last year.
As someone who has taken a full course load in 18-19 across both semesters and then only completed a single semester, 19-20, as I met all of my course requirements for my degree, would I be ineligible as a CGS-M applicant as I hadn't taken any courses in the 2019-20 winter term?
No, that doesn't make you ineligible at all. What we would do is we would go back one semester to the 17-18 year. So I would say your January 2018 semester, so that we'd get 2 full years of courses to determine your average. But if you've taken time off, it certainly doesn't make you ineligible.
All right, next question. Do you have a better chance of receiving the award if you have a higher GPA?
I say the answer to that is yes, because academics are worth 50%. So the selection criteria indicates academics is 50%. So your marks play a big role in that.
I applied for and received an OGS in my graduating year of my undergrad. Am I still eligible to, if I apply for CGS-M this year, first year of my master's? Sorry if I missed it at the beginning.
Oh, I applied and received my graduate. So I'm thinking you received, if I'm reading this correctly, you received an OGS for your first year of your master's that you're in now. So yes, you can apply to CGS-M for your second year. You just can't hold CGS-M twice. You can hold OGS multiple times. Well, two times in your master's. So yes, please apply.
Okay, so another question then again is, how many of these scholarships are awarded per university per year?
So each university has their own allocation. As mentioned, CIHR, we have 26, 36 INSERC, and 35 SHIRC.
Okay, that. Just to clarify, the averages that are considered in this application are the final 2 years of your most recent degree.
So yes, it is. So let's say you finished your degree 2 years ago and you were taking continuing education courses. We don't include those to determine your eligibility. We look at your 2 most recent full-time years towards a degree.
Will winter 2020 grades be included in the GPA calculation?
Yes, so the academic year 18-19 and 19-20. So yes, they will be included.
For grad applications, this is a note. For grad applications, I was able to obtain a PDF transcript from McMaster sent directly to the institution via an online form.
So I'm not sure what that means, but I think they're saying you can send it to an institution, but the transcripts shouldn't be sent to us. The transcripts get sent to the student, and they upload it to their own application. So I'm not sure if McMaster is sending transcripts to students. As far as I know, Diane, I don't believe they are.
No, it would probably be a question, but he's just saying, so I was able to obtain a PDF transcript from McMaster sent direct. So, so I guess my understanding from here is that they have an online form that you can request a PDF to be sent directly to another institution. But again, it's the student that's uploading. So unless the institution is going to help them out, I'm not sure that that's.
Yeah. So either way, the transcripts need to go to the student to be uploaded. So I would suggest, again, contacting the office of the registrar to see what your options are.
Do you have to have a supervisor for your master's? I think we've already answered this one, that no, it's too early.
No, you don't have to know.
Yeah. Is that number of scholarships per institution?
So the numbers that I have given is for McMaster only, and each institution
Is different.
gets their own allocation, and the tri-agency decides that. It depends on all sorts of formulas. They use a formula to determine that.
Yeah. I think we've answered this one as well. As a co-op student, I was on a work term for winter 2019. Does this mean only my fall classes counted for that year, or do you also include previous academic semester?
So no, it doesn't matter if you don't have classes as mentioned before. We use 18, 19, and 19, 20.
You said that applying to the CGS-M award automatically puts an application into the other two awards. Is there anything else on our end to do to apply for the other awards?
No, there's not. All you have to do is apply for the CGS-M and you will automatically be considered.
Can I apply if I took a year off between undergrad and grad school?
Absolutely, you can apply. So we would just look at your most two recent years of study to determine eligibility.
Yeah, same question. What if my undergrad was 5 years ago, but I'm just starting my master's now? Would the grade still be considered?
Yes, they would. Whatever the last 2 years that you went to school, we will look at.
Yeah. If we did 5 years of undergrad, it would be the last 2 years, would be the 4th and 5th year, correct?
That is correct, yes.
How does having completed multiple co-op terms in 3rd and 4th years impact the GPA requirements?
As mentioned, as long as you're registered full-time in those years, we just look at whatever grades are there to determine eligibility.
So if we have 1B, but the rest of our courses are above 80%, does that mean we are ineligible to apply?
I'm not sure what your average would be. You'd have to determine your average. If your average is over 80, then you're eligible to apply.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. What if I don't have a long list of impressive extracurricular? How would that affect my chances?
So given that academics is worth 50% of the criteria, 50% of the, when you get ranked, and then research is also worth 30. So I'm not sure how much it would affect, but marks seem to be the bigger criteria here.
What if you were part of the undergrad co-op program and were in a workplace during your 2nd semester of 3rd year? How would the average calculate? I think we've probably already answered this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just take the grades that you have. Our lab meeting just ended and I just got into the meeting. We'll be able to access, yes, that's okay, I got that one. What is the criteria for deciding recipients? Does having a higher GPA give you a better chance at it, or is there a GPA cutoff? Then other factors are assessed.
So if you go on the CGS-M website, the selection criteria is described there in full detail. That's what we give our committee when they're ranking their applications. So that when they're looking at them, they're looking at all the things that are required under the 3 criteria.
Do you send the official transcript directly from the university to the agencies, or can we mail the official transcript to our home addresses, then send them to the agencies?
So you don't send anything to the agencies. This is an online application. You upload your own transcripts to your application. So you order your transcripts, they come to you, whether depending on what university, electronically or by mail, you have to create a PDF and upload it to your application.
I did not achieve a first class average in the first semester of third year, but my cumulative GPA is higher than first class average. Does that mean I'm not eligible to apply?
So as I mentioned, we look at the whole academic year from September to the end of April normally. You're doing 2 semesters for undergrad. If you have over a 10 with the 2 semesters combined, then you're eligible in each of the years.
What is the Canadian CV? Is that just like your resume / CV?
So it's called the Canadian Common CV, and it's, I believe, owned by CIHR, and it's basically a template that is included in the application, and it asks you to include certain information. So it has its own titles, and you just include your information.
Yeah, I believe, Tony, when they're doing that, there's a link. When you go into to do your application on for CGS-M, there is a link to set up and create the Canadian CV, correct?
Yeah, so it's just a link it's just a template.
Yes, yeah, but it's already in the CV that will link them directly to it, or in the CGS-M app.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if someone wins the scholarship, then goes on graduate co-op during the year they receive the scholarship?
So according to the CGS-M rules, as long as you're registered as a full-time student, you're still able to receive the scholarship.
Okay. I did co-op in 18-19 and took 2 courses, then had my final year of undergrad in 2020. For my average, it will take 1920 plus the 2, or will it take my 1920 plus the 17? No, it's just, it doesn't have to go back, right, Tony? Again, it's
No.
because the co-op,
We'll look at the 2 courses in 18-19 and then 19-20.
yeah. Is there a criteria on what we can do with the awarded money?
No, you get paid the money, and nobody tracks it.
I currently get a research stipend for my master's. If I get this scholarship, do I still get the same amount from my professor, or does this scholarship reduce the amount the professors pay and I still end up with the same amount per year?
You will have to discuss that with your professor and department. That's a decision that they would make.
If a student wins a CGS-M, are they still eligible for any departmental and or supervisor research scholarships? In other words, would they get the CGS-M in lieu of departmental supervisor support that are in their stipend?
So again, I think that's the same question. So you would have to ask your department and supervisor what would happen if you won an award.
Okay. If we get the award but decide not to do a master's, can we turn down the award?
Absolutely. You can turn it down.
If you're in 4th year and do not have a research supervisor, how do you write a research proposal?
Martin or James, are you guys able to help with that question?
Sorry, I just had to unmute Tony.
No problem.
Yeah. All right. So I think that if you are in 4th year and you do not have a research supervisor, there is, however, a pretty good chance that in 4th year, irrespective of the program that you're in, you will have had to put together for your assignments in a 4th year honors course, a draft, for example, a draft prospectus of a major paper. Putting together a research proposal is not dissimilar from putting that together. You have to recall that from the point of view of the CGS-M process, what's going on is that we are talking about, and the committee understands this, you're talking about students in their 4th year who are putting these research proposals together. The expectation is not, for example, that it will be the equivalent of a doctoral candidate or something along those lines. You can also, I think, seek out pointers if you are in a fourth-year seminar from the professor who teaches you that particular course. But please, if you do that, opt for that approach, give them lots of time when you ask.
Great.
Thanks.
Following up on the MD-PhD question, I'm applying to the combined MD-PhD program at Mac out of undergrad, meaning I have not yet done any grad studies. Since the PhD component does not start until 2022, should I apply for the CGS-M next year so it's applicable for 22-23?
I believe that you are eligible to hold the CGS-M during your MD year. I believe that's gone through before. So I would say I'm going to send you my email so we can discuss that further. But I think it would be probably a good idea for you to apply this year. And then when you're doing your PhD, you can apply for CIHR PhD, CIHR doctoral award.
So next question then is, can you give an example of a reason for which an applicant's application would be denied?
Well, the average not being high enough. We used to deny applications for not having official transcripts because that was their criteria, but this year they changed that, so that's not an issue. Sometimes departments don't think the research the student is doing will be, they can offer the student the opportunity to do that research in their department. That's happened before. Let's see what else. I can't think of anything else, Diane, other than marks and used to be transcripts. And sometimes it's very rare that a department would say in a decline, not allow a student to apply through their department for a CGS-M, but sometimes where the research, we just don't offer that research here.
Yeah, I would think too, though, that anybody that is considering applying for a CGS-M, they should have already, or certainly before they apply, reach out to their proposed department to make sure that they think that their research would fit in line with that department. And then at least you know in advance whether it's worth the application or not.
Yeah, I think where that happens, whereas that example where that student said, if I'm applying to 3 different universities, how do I do a research proposal that could, be considered for all 3? So sometimes that's the issue, is they're applying to multiple universities, and sometimes the research proposal, the university can't accommodate.
Tony, if I, and Diane on this point, it is conceivable that what you're both suggesting, fit, is a problem. It's possible, for example, that a department knows there'll be faculty retirements or other departures that mean that the student's research proposal they simply can't accommodate. I think that's extremely rare. I can't recall such a case, but I guess theoretically it could happen.
Yeah, I've been doing this competition or managing the competition for a few years. Diane and I have been doing this, and I think it's happened 2 or 3 times. So that's very rare. But it's mostly what makes an application eligible here at McMaster is not having the average.
Yeah. And that's just clarifying, right? That is a hard 10. A 9.8, a 9.9, unfortunately, it's a 10. It has to be a 10. So, yeah. Next question is, if I am doing a 1-year master's starting September 21, can I apply in 2021 to receive the scholarship for that year? So
no,
you're applying now for that year.
You're applying now for the 21-22 academic year.
Yeah. Can you make note of any unconventional hardships faced during your studies that you think the selection committee should consider with your CGS-M application?
There is no option to do that for the CGS-M application.
I'm sorry, there's a little note right here, Tony, on my, on the CGS-M website that says special circumstances. Agencies require institutions and reviewers to take into consideration special circumstances that may have affected the applicant's research, professional career, record of academics. Relevant circumstances might include administrative responsibilities, maternity, paternal, parental leave. Specify the dates for any delays or interruptions in the leaves of absence and impact on research section of the CCV.
Ah,
So there you go.
there you go. I
Yeah.
didn't think there was something.
So it's actually the CCV, not the CGS-M application.
Ah, I see. So there's a part in the CCV where you can include your information about that.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we learned something today too.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Does the 10+ average also apply to OGS or only CGS?
Yeah, OGS has the same rules, yes. So they require the same average.
Yeah. When looking at a CCV, would you weigh technical data papers more than a review paper when deciding who to give the award to?
Martin?
That's up to the committee in question. Frankly, I don't think that particular determination happens that frequently. If you have papers of any kind, that is a significant plus on a CGS-M application.
Great.
Thank you.
If you don't need to secure a supervisor by the application deadline, how do you describe a specific research project in your proposal?
I think Martin addressed that earlier, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he did. Okay. Can second-year master's students apply if they did not win one in the first year?
So if you're in your second year of your master's now, you can't apply because this award is for the 21-22 academic year. But if you currently in your first year right now, then you can apply for your second year next year.
Okay. That was answered. Can you clarify how undergrad grades from another university correspond to the 10 cutoff from McMaster?
So Diane, don't we have a
We have a conversion chart,
we have
basically.
a conversion chart that provided by Aura, correct?
Yes.
That we use.
Yeah. So it just gives a list of all the different Canadian universities. And then and there's basically a grid that we use for conversion. And then Aura also has, if it's from an international institution, we also have documents through Aura as well that allow us to make those conversions. Sorry if it's been answered, but the average is calculated over the last 2 years, not each year. No.
No, it is each year. It is, you need a 10 in 1920 and 1819.
Yeah, they are not combined.
They're not combined.
And that's the last one. The last one was just about whether the session will be recorded, and just if anybody has missed it, yes, we will be. It has been recorded, and we will post it along with the slides on our CGS-M scholarship website page.
You know, at some point I saw that somebody had raised their hand, but we were answering questions, so I don't know if they put their questions in the
Well, there were now a couple of things had popped into the chat, so let me just open that up and see if they've all been answered. Let me see here. Yeah, I think most of these have been terms of award. With here. Yeah, these have all, looks like they've been flipped over and asked in the Q&A section as well.
Great.
Yeah, okay. So that is it. We have tackled all of our questions here. Let me just make sure nothing else has slipped in here. Oh, no, some more have come in. Do we have to have professional research experience, or can we use our class experience?
I'm not sure what that means, Martin. Do you know what that means?
I don't. I think the question is asking about if you're in a professional degree program. My answer to this, regardless, would be that you do not need professional research experience to qualify for a CGS-M.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, the next thing to do is this grade conversion grid available to students to confirm whether or not our grades are above the cutoff? I don't believe that that's available to students, but what I would recommend, sorry, I'm just going to jump in, Tony, sorry for taking over, is reaching out to your proposed graduate department. The graduate administrators there are certainly able to help you out in confirming your GPA. Okay, then the last two questions are just about being posted, so we've already dealt with those.
Well, can you please post the link to the website? Are we talking the CGS-M?
Oh, don't for our McMaster website, so we can pull a link in there.
Oh, yes, the CGS-M.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
CGS-M website? Oh, okay, so.
Let's put it into the chat for everybody.
Yeah. Did you see this question? Can you include manuscripts? Did we read that one?
Oh, no, I didn't see that one. I'm sorry.
Can you include manuscripts currently under review in your CCV, or can you only include those that have been fully published? Martin, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, you may. Normally you separate it out. It would be if you can either do it under review, or if it's already gone through the review process but has not yet appeared, it goes under the heading forthcoming.
Okay, is that it then, I think, Diane?
Yeah, sorry, just give me a sec if you want to just have another look. I'm just typing in the link here for everybody. Okay, it doesn't let me go any further down to send it. There we go. Okay, so I have included the link to the CGS-M page on the McMaster Scholarships website page, or website. So that is in the chat for everybody to see. All right. Thank you. Yeah, and I think we've got the rest of them, right? You dealt
Yeah,
with
I
them.
think so. Great. I think we got all the questions. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the session. Hopefully we answered all your questions. And if there's anything else, please email us at graduatesscholarships@mcmaster.ca. I'd like to thank James Gillette, Dr. James Gillette and Dr. Martin Horn for helping out. And my colleague, Diane.
Thanks very much.
Have a great day, everybody. And please email us if you have any more questions.